now. Cool. So, hello everybody. Welcome to Main Chat Nerd Night. Where a couple of us from the Main Chat Discord server get together and we play some Dungeons and Dragons. Just a very, very brief recap of what's been going on. The group made their, on instruction from somebody that they met in their origin town, they were making their way to the capital city of Pitchfield. Along the way, they met some rather interesting characters, and they found themselves distracted is probably not the right word, but pulled away on a very interesting task in Bren, the capital city of the county of Brenethar. They discovered and infiltrated a cult, managed to turn the city against the cult, and worked with the lawmaster and the authorities to I'm hearing a lot of typing. Worked with the lawmaster and the authorities to essentially break the leadership of that cult. A fight ensued when they found where the cult was. A couple of rather interesting creatures had been summoned as a result of this cult's actions, but the group managed to destroy all of them. After returning to the city, they spoke to the lawmaster, received a fairly substantial reward, and with said substantial reward, they made their way to the town and procured some items that they had been looking for. At this point, it's about mid-afternoon or so, and I know I left off at the very end of the session. Rurik, you were looking for something potion related. I don't remember what it was. So let's go right to you first.
All right. I've been looking for general potion ingredients or other such potion things that I could use to expand my repertoire of potion-based effects.
Okay.
Of particular note, I would be interested in potential for poisons for combat augmentation, or more info, or the ability to more easily make a potion of hypnosis.
Okay, which you have one of those, I believe you purchased, right?
Yes, I do have one. I'd like to either purchase another or the means of being able to craft one.
Okay, I don't believe that you've examined it closely enough to know the ingredients of it specifically.
Yeah.
But
I haven't had enough.
Yeah, you haven't really had downtime for it. But you certainly can try and find another one.
Yeah.
If you want to go ahead and roll an event. Before I make you roll the check, is there anything else you're looking for along the side? Just general potion ingredients as well?
I already got some work-related stuff and some vials as well. So I think other than that, I should be good. I think I have everything else I would need just in my general work kit.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and roll investigation check to see if you're able to find this potion or other ingredients that may potentially lead to the creation of this potion.
Alright.
I have a rather insignificant question.
What's up?
I have a trick wand. I forget what the trick is with the wand.
I believe, if I recall correctly, it's primarily your spellcasting focus, and you can utilize it for certain non-magical tricks, like pulling, fabric out of it, or summoning flowers, things like that, like non-magical effects that appear magical because you've trained yourself really well on.
Oh, so it's hollow.
Yeah, it's like a stage magician's wand, but you can also use it as a spellcasting focus.
Cool. Just wanted to check.
Okay, so what was that? What was your the result of your check, Rurik?
22.
Was it 22? Okay. It actually doesn't take you very long at all. You do find an apothecary that is able to... They don't have that potion specifically in stock, but they do have the ingredients necessary, and they know how to craft it. so they are able to make it for you. In this case, let's see. For the creation of that potion, it doesn't take very long at all. They would say it would probably be done the next day, and it will cost you 65 gold pieces.
All right. I'd be okay with picking up the materials for that.
Okay, so you asked them for the materials rather than the completed potion?
Oh, I thought you said they didn't have the completed potion.
They don't, but they offered to make it for you. That's...
Oh.
So, if you don't want to make it, if you don't want them to make it, if you just want to purchase the materials themselves, it'd be in the range of about 30 gold pieces just to get the necessary ingredients.
Okay.
But, you wouldn't be paying for their time to make it, so...
Right. I don't believe we'll be lingering very much longer, so I do 30 for the materials.
Okay. So it's actually kind of hard to tell. They've got a pretty thick robe on. They give you the necessary ingredients and a small scrap of parchment that has the instructions to make the potion on it.
Excellent.
As they're handing it to you, through the conversation that you had with them, you gave them an impression of somebody that is eager to learn and is interested in this field, which is not incredibly common, surprisingly. So they gave you a small, essentially, instruction set to create the potion. So now you have the ingredients necessary to make a potion of hypnosis and a recipe to make it.
Excellent.
Hey, Rurik, what potion are you making?
I'm hoping to make more of this hypnosis potion.
A what?
Yes, the same one you took an interest in before.
Did I forget something? What? I must have missed something.
I was highly interested in that potion of hypnosis.
Where did we get a hypnosis potion?
He bought one earlier, with me in mind, and I appreciate that. Rurik, I appreciate you.
I see why I forgot about this.
Why, thank you. Was there anything else related to, or anything else of note? Or is it just that?
With that investigation check, you did actually find a number of apothecaries in the area. None that specifically had the ingredients for that potion. But you did find a number of other potion makers and apothecaries and other such individuals. So if there's something else that you might want to look for, you now know where to start looking. What that translates to in gameplay terms is the DC in the future would be lower, because you already know where to start looking.
Okay. I don't think I have anything immediately right now. Ordinarily, I would be looking for things that I might reason could potentially help with the Stoneblight affliction, but I'm following a different lead with it potentially having been the result of a curse rather than a medical affliction. So I don't think I have anything else at this time.
And I don't want to put anything on you guys, but you also haven't gotten back to Savelis about that.
I know. I intend to contact him again.
I'm curious. Can I fit any type of coin into
I like where this is going.
Can I fit any type of coin into my trick wand?
Coin? No. The wand itself is only about maybe a quarter inch in diameter, which is a little bit too small, unfortunately, for the smallest of coins.
Oh, also, I would like some cash exchanged. I want to exchange a gold piece for some silver, and then some of my silver for some copper.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. That's something you can do actually at the front of your rather high-end established lodging. That is actually a service they offer. Is just the exchange of various currencies, and they have currencies from other kingdoms as well. But by and large, gold piece is a gold piece, a silver piece is a silver piece. So.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I've done it.
Yeah, whatever conversion you'd like to do, that's easy enough to do.
I turn 3 gold into 30 silver and 5 silver into 50 copper.
There you go.
What are you up to?
I've got a routine I'm working on.
Oh, how fascinating.
What kind of money changer charged you nothing?
The one that's being paid by the city.
In government facilities, man.
You found a connection, it seems.
How generous.
So who taxes the tax?
Oh, the service isn't free, but because of who you are and your relationship with the Lawmaster, it's being billed elsewhere.
What if I would like to convert platinum to copper and then back again?
Yeah, they do it willingly enough, the platinum to copper, and then
And why are you doing that?
You push the pile back toward them and say you'd like that in platinum, and they just kind of give you an exasperated look and toss the bag of platinum back at you.
Wonderful. I love this city.
The energy from that is just to get out of my shop.
Get that jank.
Okay, so Prudence, you mentioned you wanted to go back to the Lawmaster and pick up the lock crawler. Was that it? 50 platinum, yep. So, simple enough. You go back to the Lawmaster. He's in his office, and he does very willingly offer the lock crawler device that he had offered to you before. And he kind of packages it up in this little nice, it's like a cherry wood box almost. Like, you can tell he takes a lot of care in each of his particular tinkering devices. So he gives that to you in exchange for the 50 platinum. No, the box is not lead-lined. It's... Why does it need to be lead-lined? No, that's not something I keep here. Sorry? Okay, so you... Okay, so Hoyd, Prudence speaks to you and wants to know if you can be a little bit more specific about your questions about transmutation.
Are you able to convert other metals into other metals?
I'm starting to think the world gave me a secret to keep just so I wouldn't feel left out.
Oh no.
That is just snark, but y'all are weird.
Wait, Zook, what was that?
Prince says, not yet. Especially not if you want to make money fast.
What do you think it's about?
Do you
You know
take
what
me for a
trade I'm in.
dishonest man?
You know my trade. I might take you for a fool.
Alrighty, Shigun is the only person I haven't checked in with at the moment. Shigun, is there anything that you want to wrap up during this? It's getting into late afternoon-ish or so.
No, I think I took care of everything I needed to last session with the healing potion. And did everyone add healing potion to their inventory?
Yes.
Okay,
Just now or last session?
it was last session.
Yeah, I think everyone did that last session.
Okay.
Yep, now I have 2.
Okay, I think I'm okay then. Got all that taken.
Shigun picked up some healing potions last session. I believe all of you did already add that to your inventories.
Yes.
Okay, so.
Okay, am I connected?
Yep.
Yes, you're
we
here.
can hear you.
Okay.
So, it's getting into the mid to late afternoon or so. It didn't take Rurik very long at all to complete his specific search. Not with an investigation of 22. Prudence says we should ask the Lawmaster if it's acceptable to leave town now.
Why would we need to ask him if we can leave? Are we waiting on him for something?
I figure it's a formality. And besides, I'm not entirely clear on what the agreement was, if there was an agreement.
He paid for a room and board. We should be polite.
I don't know if he wants to see you again.
I will go in your stead.
He always knows I'm here.
He doesn't need to be reminded of it.
Prudence says when he gave us the Maroon Mansion pass, he said not to leave town until the investigation is done.
That's fair. Although, given how he sent us off with a literal chest full of gold, I imagine that was our cue that we have been absolved from the situation.
Was that a going away present? And make sure you stay away?
Actually, wait a minute.
You make it sound like it was a bribe to keep us away.
Wait a minute, I'm thinking. So if he expects us not to leave town, that's going to be a problem because I have business I need to do over in, let me check my map.
Prudence just says, this is the kind of thing that you do confirm.
That's fair. I agree, we should probably check in with him just to be sure.
I have no objections to that.
I have business in Pitchfield.
I think we all have
So,
field.
Okay.
if it turns out that we are expected not to leave town for a while, then I might have to sneak out to get that done. And he hasn't seen me since our latest battle.
I could
So
always
it-
give you help in getting away.
So it might be more beneficial if I did not, in fact, attend this meeting.
The only the only other thing that I feel might be something we should probably do is I think we should tell Liara and Mikhail what happened to their father.
I think I'll skip that meeting. If you want anything productive done, at least.
Alrighty. So,
I hate to agree with you, Hoyd, but I think that's for the best.
Prudence says
So, should I keep the Lawmaster alone?
Prudence says to Zook, sneaky, I can't stop you. So what's the plan?
I think Rurik and Shigun should definitely go see Liara. Prudence, I don't know where you want to go.
My plan hinges on whether the Lawmaster will allow us to leave town, so
My plan is to say hi to the Lawmaster again.
I'm waiting on Prudence then.
I swear, if we get a Lawmaster round 2, I'm gonna lose it.
I think I will go with Prudence.
Alrighty. So,
Like 5 sessions,
Besides,
so
if I go with Hoyt, I might be seen as endorsing this behavior.
alright. So, Zook, where are you going to be going, or are you going to just be staying behind?
Who's going to visit the Lawmaster?
Prudence and Hoyt so far.
Who's not going to visit the Lawmaster?
Shigun and Rurik are going to go visit. What was the lady's name?
Liara.
Liara.
Then I'll go with them.
With Shigun and Rurik?
Yes.
Okay. Well, fingers crossed this is going to be the faster interaction, so I will split you guys a little bit. I'm going to follow Prudence and Hoyt for a bit,
That's what
And-
we do. We split the party.
and Deer, who doesn't exist right now. You guys, finalize the little inner workings of your plan, and you make your way up to...
Prudence summoned Deer as a cat.
Oh, you did. That's right. So I actually need to... I actually don't know if I have a cat mini, but I'll try and find
cat.
one.
I thought you
That's
said
for sure.
crab. I thought
It's
Deer was
cat.
a crab.
Oh, Deer is a cat at the moment. A cat that acts like a raven. So
A very
you
funny
guys,
sight indeed.
You guys make your way up to the county seat. Actually, I don't know if I have any cat figures. And you make your way up to the county seat. There, just inside the door. The guards actually open the door for you. They now recognize you with how often you've been here. And they I lost my train of thought for a second. You get up to the county seat and you make your way inside. Vec is over at his desk, and he kind of casts a sidelong look at Prudence as he walks by. But you continue on past and make your way toward the... I'm going to wait for Prudence to finish because I don't know if he has anything. I do have a cat, but it's not the right color. Okay. So you make your way back toward the Lawmaster's office, which you're now fairly familiar with. The door is open, and you actually peek your head in the door, and you see the Lawmaster there is furiously scribbling something on a parchment, and he kind of looks up. Oh, and Prudence kind of steps forward and says, "Hello, we're about to leave your beautiful town, and since you asked us to stay until the investigation's done with, it's my impression that the investigation's done, but we'd like to confirm with you if that it's okay to leave." And the Lawmaster puts his quill down. He says, "Well, you've done the city a good service, but I think I'm not going to stop you if you want to go somewhere. You you have a task to do, don't you? So, and I'm not going to stand in your way of that." And Hoyd, you just kind of wave at him, and when you wave at him, he kind of gives you a mild glare. Like he's happy for what you've done for the city, but he still doesn't really like you that much.
He's being polite.
Exactly. He's being a politician. Prudence says, "It's heartening to hear that from you. We shall bother you no more for a time." The Lawmaster
Oh,
says,
don't tell him that.
Great. Well,
Now he knows the game.
I don't have a cat figurine, so Deer is gonna be a crab for a little bit.
What you need is an actual cat.
Yeah, I do, but I live in an apartment, so
You
Come
use that
on.
for your.
I'm just having trouble getting the crab figurine to stay in the stand. There it goes. So Deer is a crab. She's actually a cat, but I don't have a cat that's the right color, so she's a crab for right now.
I do have a
That's
question
one
for the
correct
Lawmaster.
letter. Actually, no, that's two. That's two correct letters. That's most of the word.
What's up? Sorry, Hoyd.
Should we come back to Bren, would we expect the same accommodations as before? we are town heroes now.
Ooh, when you ask that, you see his eyes kind of flare up a little bit with annoyance. You know what? You know what? Make a persuasion check.
Oh,
Prudence says absolutely not. Can you give him disadvantage? How do you give him? How would you give him disadvantage? Because he rolled pretty well.
The way I interpret this
The
is that
anti-help action.
Prudence is helping. Prudence is helping the Lawmaster.
I don't know. It's not quite how it works, but with the 26, you pull into the inner reaches of your, with your political knowledge and your understanding of nobility, and the non-nobles who essentially actually do the busy work to run the city. You lay it on thick, and you do what you can. And he kind of rolls his eyes and says, he reaches into his desk and pulls out a parchment, and he like unrolls it in the desk in front of you, and you can see it's like a line item list of charges. And he says, maybe not the Muru Mansion, but should you come our way again, you'll have a place to stay.
I take it that's not the prison cells.
Not unless you do something that would put you there.
Okay, I will take your non-assumption as an assumption of what I want.
And Prudence kind of rolls his eyes, and he's already walking out the door.
I head out, and we will meet again. I'm sure of it.
I bet. I just bet. And close the door on your way out.
This music is really adventurous.
He locks the door.
So you close the door behind you?
I do.
Okay. You acquiesce to the Lawmaster's request and you close the door behind you. Alrighty. And you guys make your way out toward the front of the building, out past Vec. And as you're walking along, Prudence mumbles, exploiting the system undeservedly. And he's just muttering to himself angrily. Maybe
But
not
aren't we
angrily is not the
deserved?
right word, but annoyed a little bit.
annoyed at Hoyd.
Part 2, it's not just gnomes.
And how is our favorite administrator?
Actually, no, part 3, it's not just gnomes and waitresses.
Prudence says, sorry, I can't hear you.
I'm sure you can't.
On your way by, you say that to Vec, and Vec kind of, he looks, how do I even describe this? He looks like kind of past you almost, like he's looking in your direction, but not looking right at you. And he says, it's been a long night for all of us.
You don't say. We almost died.
It's a shame, isn't it? And as the conversation is going on, he does focus on you directly. So.
I'm sorry, Prudence broke me for a little bit.
So, you guys make your way back out of the county seat. Scene shifting over to Rurik, Shigun, and Zook. You make your way down. Excuse me, hang on one second. Makes his way down toward in the direction of the Docks District where you encountered Liara before. And you get to Liara's house. The door is closed. You don't see any light coming from inside, but it's also late afternoon, early evening. So.
I'll approach the door and give a firm knock.
Okay. You give the door,
I recall this family has a child.
Yes.
Yes.
I might need to distract it.
Distract it.
Distract it.
I don't know.
Was that
If
Shigun?
it's I don't remember if it's a boy or girl.
Was that Shigun that knocked on the door?
Rurik.
That Rurik.
So Rurik, you knock on the door solidly and you wait a moment. And you hear a bit of movement from inside, and the door just cracks open slightly, and you see Liara. You met Liara, correct?
Yes.
You were there at the first. Okay.
Yeah. I don't think I said much, but I was there.
And you see the door crack open slightly, and Liara, her face kind of like partially obscured by the door, looks over your head to Shigun at first, and then looks down and notices you standing there. Which is, it's you. What can I do for you?
We have some news. May we come in, or would you prefer us to remain out here?
I think there is good.
All right. It is of grave. Crap. I'm very bad with words.
That's okay.
Due to an unfortunately grave circumstance, I regret to inform that your husband has unfortunately passed away due to events that unfolded last.
Oh. So he was caught up in the... wasn't he? Okay. You can see now, looking a little closer at her, you can see her eyes are kind of puffed up, and she has very clearly been crying. It's just, when he didn't come back last night, I kind of figured, but I'd hoped maybe... Thank you.
We did everything we could to help spare him from what had unfolded, but circumstances escalated beyond our control, and there was simply nothing that could have been done. You have my deepest condolences and most sincere apologies, and if there's anything we can do to help you, please don't hesitate to ask.
Words cannot convey the regret and shame that I feel, because I had promised that I would be alive, but as my friend said, unfortunately, then the quarry escalated very, and for that, I'm sorry.
I did hear you.
I take my hat off and
heard
put it
most
on
of
my
your
chest.
sentence, but you're a little quiet. That's all.
Okay, I'll try to speak a bit louder.
Yeah, I did hear you, so you're good on that one.
Okay.
So Zook, you kind of take your top hat off and put it on your chest. You see Liara. You can see both of her eyes, but like part of her face is obscured by the door. She kind of glances around at the group. She says, I appreciate you came to tell me what happened. I think it would be best if you go.
We understand.
And you hear a voice from further inside saying, Mom, who's that? Who's at the door? And you see Liara's face kind of disappear from the door for a second. She says, It's nobody. Go back to bed. In the middle of the afternoon, but shush.
Kids take naps.
And Liara comes back to the door. If that's all, I have to see to my son.
Do what you need to do.
I give a somber bow, and if there's anything we could ever do, please don't hesitate to seek us out.
I will. And with that, the door kind of closes without much of a farewell.
I think we've done what we can here, lads. I think we should find Void Prudence.
I'm inclined to agree.
That sounds fair. I put
Alright.
my hat back on my head.
Okay. So making your way back toward the center of the city, you actually go up to the county seat as Hoyt and timing-wise, Hoyt and Prudence have stepped out of the building, and they're just kind of milling about, but it's only maybe a minute or so. It doesn't take you very long to get back up there, timing-wise. And you find Prudence and Hoyt sniping at each other about gambling, because of course. Yeah, so you approach them, and they're out in front of the county seat. You can see the guards that are standing over them are just like uncomfortably listening to this conversation, knowing that because of who they are, they can't do anything, but just giving each other looks as this conversation is going on. And you guys walk up as Hoyt, as Prudence is saying, donating to charity does not excuse misdeeds.
Any updates?
Sounds like we've missed a rousing conversation.
Any news?
The Lawmaster says we can leave.
Well then let's. We've resolved our business.
Hoyt says, I believe we disagree on the misdeeds part.
Oh, while I have you all here for a moment, I want to give you something. I hand everyone except Prudence, who already has one, a small electrum ring. And if you could be so kind as to keep this on your person, ideally wearing it, it should come in handy if the time necessitates it.
What is this? What does it do?
Oh, it does nothing. It's just something I need to be able to cast a specific spell that is extremely helpful in protecting people. But it can only work when both I and the target wear these rings.
What spell is it?
The spell is called Warding Bond.
What does it do?
Mechanically.
Are you looking for mechanics, or are you just asking Rurik?
I am asking Rurik what it does.
Ah, boy. How to give a flavorful description of this.
It's a +1 to AC, I believe.
Yeah, it does give does boost your AC in.
Oh, and resistance to all damage. That's right. Jeez.
Yes, it resists all damage.
This is
it's
a
amazing.
banana spell for 2nd level.
It is, but the caster will take the damage. The caster will share the damage. That's okay. I now have a domain feat that makes that a lot easier to deal with.
So each of you, Rurik hands a silvered ring, but it has like a green tint to it. It's hard to really get a good beat on what the color is. You recognize the metal as Electrum, because Electrum is one of the major exports of Sundi, so you've seen it around. So you recognize this metal. You just haven't seen it crafted into a ring. It's not incredibly common.
Oh yes, it's a platinum ring, or it's a platinum electrum alloy. For the purposes of the spell, it will work.
Oh, that's right, because you... Yep, that's right.
We already did this song and dance earlier.
Yes. That's right.
Wait, what color was it?
There's enough platinum in them that it does what it needs to do. It's like a silvery color, like close to silver or platinum, but has a very mild green tint to it.
This should complement my look.
That way, if the need should arise and I have to be able to cast it on any one of you, we will be ready to do so at a moment's notice.
Sounds like it will be most helpful. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, I can move you back. With Deer. Deer the crab cat. Prudence he takes a moment and just organizes. You see, he sets his bag down and organizes his items in his bag, puts certain items on the outside of pouches and so on. He stands up, hitches his bag, and says, "Good. Now that that's settled, let's leave."
I assume everyone is now wearing their rings.
It's.
All
you
right,
are
we got
wearing
matching
your
rings. We are the best friend squad.
It's D&D, and part of the fantasy is that you don't need to size rings. They just all fit.
We're just gonna hand wave that one.
Oh no, I had them all sized especially for you.
Yeah, or Rurik came in the middle of the night and like secretly sized your fingers very carefully and very stealthily.
It's like equipment in an MMO, one size fits all races.
Except Lullaby, because they're pear-shaped. Anyway,
Alrighty.
our next destination at this point is Pitchfield, correct?
I see no reason to stay here. I think our work is quite done.
Oh boy, Hoyt is loud now.
Am I?
You're fine where you are.
Yeah, you're fine. I'm just gonna turn you down a little bit.
Yes, Pitchfield would be the next place to go. We had some things to do there.
Mechanically, how long would it take to travel to Pitchfield, assuming that is our next destination?
With your horses,
Yes.
and the carriage, it is probably. Let's see. Let me double check what the actual range is. You have remind me. You have draft horses or riding horses? I forget which.
I believe they were. I think they were draft for cart capacity.
Okay.
I recall draft horses.
I believe they were
I
draft
remember
horses.
their names because they're written down.
So depending on the pace you want to go at, either a fast, normal, or slow pace. If you go quickly, you can get there. Let me just measure the distance to this real quick. You can get there in about 4 days if you go quickly. Disadvantage of going quickly is obviously you make a lot of noise, and you don't spot as many things along the road. Normal pace will take you a little bit over a week-ish, about 6 to 7 days. And if you wanted to try to stealth, which would be difficult with horses, but you can take a slow pace, that would take about 2 weeks.
I think quickly would do.
You're familiar enough with the surroundings that you know generally. You've never been there, but you generally know about how far it is.
I'm fine with either a fast or a normal pace. But faster might be better.
Zook, I don't know the particulars of your endeavor in Pitchfield, but how urgent was your business?
I did not hear the last part of that question.
How urgent was your business?
I was not given an exact time frame, but it is my understanding that it should not take more than a couple of weeks. So, and some of that time we've already spent.
True.
On the way to Bran and on our activities in it. So,
it's also important to remember our original goal for going to Pitchfield was to find Null.
yeah, that's reasonably time sensitive too. So I think it would be best if we hurry up. At least a little bit. Don't want to exhaust ourselves.
Yes, we have reason to believe Null was taken there.
So you guys pack up your stuff. You're making your way out of town, out of city.
I think so. I think we're
Yeah,
all
we'll head
fine.
out.
Okay. So you
I
pack
think
up
there will
your
be
you pack up your belongings. The concierge at the front of the Maroon Mansion, as Hoyd and Zook, as you two are exiting, the concierge goes, "Oh no, our favorite customers."
I will be back, and I will remember.
Higher.
But otherwise says nothing else to you as you leave. Okay, so you pack up your horses. The Maroon Mansion is actually on the correct side of town that you're traveling in. It's on the western side of town, of the city rather.
Efficient.
And you make your way out of the city, pressing a little bit, harder on these horses, to, make sure that they're going quickly, but not hard enough that you're actually, being hard on them.
I actually had one last minor thing I wanted to do before we actually started traveling.
Yeah, go for it.
I wanted to we were using a fast pace, correct?
Yes.
That's correct.
Okay. I would like to use the sending stone and message Savelis and informing him that we will be in Pitchfield in 4 to 5 days.
Okay. So you focus for a moment and you feel the magic of the sending stone cast away, and about 15-20 seconds later you get a response. Very good, Dr. Dwarf. The documents will be waiting for you. Merely go to the palace, speak your name, and they will ensure that it gets to you.
Thanks.
Hoyd, how
I'm
many
going to
rations
sit.
have you looted from the minibar? Well, that depends. Did you do what I do in hotels and every day just pull all of the shampoo off of the shelves and stuff them in my bag because I know they're going to get another one the next day, or...
Of course, and it's not my bill.
Okay. I would say in that case, for each day you stayed, which I want to say was 4 days you stayed at the Mer Mansion, or was it 3? For each day, you got 1 day's worth of rations. Rations is stretching it a bit. They're like dried fruit and nice. They're well made because of the place, but it's not exactly protein heavy, if you will. You did manage to actually steal. On that note, you did actually get a number of small containers of liquor. I would say during your time there, you would have gotten 4 small containers of liquor.
Oh joy.
So that's random thievery off the checklist.
That's another one.
Technically, it was all
Only
paid for.
social intrigue.
So I'm going to sit with Rurik in the body of the cart.
Okay.
Yes.
So, Rurik...
I'm going to practice my magic while he works on his potion.
Okay. So you two are in the back of the cart, which is easy enough. The cart is large enough, certainly, to fit both of you comfortably. You
Yeah, and
specifically
we're the small
comfortably, no question. Who's going to be actually like driving the horses and maintaining the route?
I think it was Hoyd.
I can make an attempt. Not very talented, but sure.
Prudence is volunteering, then
And so
perhaps it
Prudence
should be him
offers
then.
to drive the horses for the first day. What are the other two going to be doing? So I'm going to put you up at the front.
I can just walk. How fast are we traveling exactly? Like, am I able to keep pace with it? Like if I'm walking alongside?
Ember,
Sorry, I was just I was eating at the same time, and I got
Oh,
food
no,
all
you're-
over my
you're
hands, so I didn't want to touch my microphone. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Walking. Actually, what is your Constitution score? 18.
18.
It's a
And
little
you
rough
stop.
on you, but you are able to keep up relatively well. Not the entire day, but
Yeah.
at least until evening, you feel you have the training and you have the just general fortitude necessary to maintain that pace. Draft horses, specifically, actually have almost the same speed as humans, just a little bit faster. So for you, you are a little tired in the evening, but it's nothing you haven't dealt with before in your training.
Okay.
It's a march.
Oh, I will do that then, and also kind of keep my eyes out on the surrounding roadside to see if there's anything suspicious, if anything, trouble ahead, so that way I'm ready.
Okay. And Hoyd, are you in the back, just continuously making Rurik's bags, casting prestidigitation, and making his bags smell like lavender? Alrighty, so you're in the back as well.
Sleight of hand.
Just consistently prestidigitating. Are you height? Okay.
What?
Yeah, with a 29, whatever you.
Yeah,
wanna
I'm practicing my tricks.
Okay. Yeah, with a 29, I would imagine probably a number of different tricks that you perform in the back. It's a little bumpy, and it is a little rough, but you do manage to get a good amount of practice in by the evening. Let's see.
Oh, I should get
Shigun?
some cups. I should get some cups.
Shigun, if
What's
I
up?
could have you make a perception check, please, but -5. So whatever your modifier is, subtract 5 from that, because you're traveling
Okay,
at
so
a fast
that-
pace.
Okay, that'd be an overall -4 for me, because I have a
Oh no.
There you go.
I'm gonna try and come up with a trick that involves like hiding coins under cards and like making them appear on top of the card and stuff like that.
What was the result you got, Shigun?
It was a 2. I see the outdoors.
Was it 2? Dirt trees, that's for sure. As you're traveling along, like you're like, oh, tree, rock, tree, rock, tree, mountain, tree. That's a bit about what you get by the end of the
sky's
evening.
there. Don't forget the sky. It's there too.
The sky would be
Like-
there were it not covered in clouds. It is actually
The way
overcast.
I'm figuring it is that Shigun got so bored looking about that he's now just kind of like playing a game to himself, like trying to see like how many trees he can count before he like sees like a merchant cart, right?
Prudence,
and like is trying to get a high score.
That's
Prudence,
exactly what's happening.
you glance over to Shigun and you see like Shigun's eyes kind of flick in different directions, and you hear him making little like combat noises to himself, like imagining bandits on the road, like chasing after, like you hear like pew, 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 pew. You hear like little combat noises as he's imagining these things going on.
No, you know what this is, right? It's the equivalent of when you're in the car as a child and you're imagining a stick man like doing parkour flips along the buildings.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what you're
Yeah,
doing.
yeah, I was thinking that too.
And Prudence kind of looks over to you and says, are you alright? Shigun, do you want to sit down?
Oh no, I'm fine for right now. I can keep going for a couple more hours. I say with a completely straight demeanor.
Okay.
And then I go back to my Star Wars lunches.
Pretty much, yeah, your parkour Star Wars fantasies.
Parkour Star Wars.
Suit yourself. Don't get exhausted.
Parkour.
So you, and then Prudence, is there anything for this? You're relatively familiar. You worked a little bit, so you basically know what you're doing, and driving horses on a cart is not the most complicated thing in the world. So you are able to, more or less, keep them at a good pace.
I'm gonna...
Deer is in the cart next to you, sitting by your side, just kind of curled up. And every so often the cart will like bump a bit, and she kind of like stands up and looks around. Like you see her head like move, twitch from side to side, like scanning the area. And then she settles back down, and she goes down and is napping next to you for a bit.
I'm gonna roll to come up with a coins and cards sort of trick.
Toward the end of the evening, Deer does
Another sleight of
sort of
hand.
climb over the rear side of the cart and starts kind of like batting at Hoyd. And just kind of like she like approaches you slowly, and you see her kind of put her paw up, and she just taps your leg and kind of skitters back a little bit, and she crawls forward and brings her paw up and taps your leg and skitters backward. Okay, Zook, so with your coins and cards trick with a 20, yeah, it's... You managed to work on one that you haven't worked on in a while, and despite the cart moving around, you feel pretty confident that you have successfully worked out the kinks in this particular trick. So the day turns to evening and then to night.
So if I end up in a bar in which I can't perform, I could probably still do some bar bets.
There you go. And as you are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, you're making 30 miles. You can see off in the distance, well you can't because it's nighttime, but you could just see off in the distance before the sun went below the horizon. The mountain range ahead of you has grown significantly closer, and there is a slight decline to the road as it approaches a small river. You're about, you would estimate, 15-ish miles off from the river by the time nightfall approaches. So would you guys like to go through the night? What is your plan now that night?
Would it be possible to would it be possible to like bed down in the cart and just keep traveling, or would that be too much of a strain on the horses?
It's you would be able to do it, but not at a fast pace. Because of the cart like bouncing on the road and stuff, you would have to slow if you wanted people to sleep on the cart.
We should make camp. I agree with Prudence.
Prudence says,
Should we make camp on the cart?
Horses need to sleep
No.
too, especially
No.
at a fast pace.
We all need rest. Travel isn't easy.
Okay. So you kind of collectively, through various bits of conversation, Shigun kind of huffing and puffing by the side of the cart. You're feeling the sweat coming down now that you've been running, more or less jogging in your armor for several hours now. And through the various snippets of conversation you're able to have, you decide to make camp by the side of the road. And just waiting for Prudence if there's anything special. Okay. After a certain point, Shigun, actually, you're the one that eventually says, "Alright, I can't do this. I can't do this anymore." And you do end up pulling off to the side of the road. It's where you are is relatively flat. Actually, as you've been approaching this, as the decline has been happening, you've been approaching this river. The tree cover has diminished drastically. Immediately out of Bren, it was pretty heavily wooded, and that has just been dropping off and dropping off and dropping off as you've been going throughout the day. Afternoon, rather. So you have a fairly good perspective on your surroundings. Those of you without dark vision are still having a little bit of a rough time seeing, but you do have a pretty good view of what's around you.
So it is becoming nightfall then?
It is night. Night has fallen.
It is night. Okay. Okay.
Okay. So Prudence, as you guys are starting to sort of pack, repack, or adjust your things in the cart, Prudence takes a moment and with his little kit he has here, let's see if I can find it. He draws sort of a big circle around the cart in this chalk that he has on hand. And as he sort of begins this ritual incantation, you see the dome start to solidify, this maroon dome solidify over you as he casts Liam and Tiny Hut around you. And then he takes a moment and also casts Alarm around the horses themselves. And as soon as he's done with that, he kind of dusts his hands off, grabs his bedroll, and immediately goes to sleep.
Have we set up in the middle of the road, or are we off to the side?
You'd be off to the side.
We pulled off a little bit.
Okay.
Probably about, not incredibly far, probably about 15, 20 feet off the road. So you are like almost on, you're right there, but based on Shigun, based on what you've seen, there isn't a whole lot happening. So Rurik, as you've been doing this over the course of the day, so you've been looking to identify, remind me, the mystery poison. That's the one you got from Sednan's
Yes.
blade?
Dagger, yep.
Yes, Sednan's dagger. You mentioned 2/3 of usages left of a poison that was different from the other cultists. I was hoping to identify that one.
Okay. So you set to work on that. Let me get my sheet up because I put that away for some reason. Oops. If I can find it.
And so I'd like to remind people that we have items that we should identify.
I go to sleep with my wand and think about it often.
Oh, you're going to learn about it via osmosis.
Who's taking watch?
So I'm just gonna rewind the time slightly. So the three of you who were in the cart, Zook, we already know what you were doing for the day. I'm working with oh my goodness, Rurik. I'm so sorry. My brain just
Did
went.
you forget my name for a bit?
My brain went for a second.
No, I get you. You're fine.
And you, the first thing you did was go to identify that poison. Is that what you're doing?
Yes.
Sorry. Give me one quick second, because I left that at home, at my other apartment, but I do have a PDF available, so give me one quick second.
Oh, if you want to wait and resolve that off session, that would be fine.
All I need to know, remind me what color I described it as.
I didn't note color.
Because I believe the potions that you had before...
Talking about the stunning one?
So you know the stunning one. And the other one, I believe, I want to say it was like a purplish, like almost a maroon, like it's lavender
Sounds
kind of
about
color.
right.
It's kind of hard to immediately get a good
I think I
description.
remember maroon.
Sounds correct, but I did not note what it was.
Okay.
I just remember the stunning poison as being some off-black color.
I think I remember it looking like blood, but it might just be the theme thing.
Was it a deep red? I remember it was a shade of red. I want to say it was like a light shade of red, almost a purple. So what you find, if I can find the description for it, where's ours in the list?
So, maroon, then.
Thereabouts.
So they're both maroon, then.
The one that you got out of the original cultist blades, that was like a deep red.
Oh,
Why am I?
okay.
It's supposed to be R. There it is.
So the stunning one is more of a crimson.
When you take like a quick taste of it, you feel your... Actually, make a Constitution saving throw. This isn't... You're not going to get poisoned by this. I just want to see how this plays out.
I didn't expect to get poisoned by it. Even if I did, I have like resistance.
You have your
such
resilience, yep.
things. Yes. This is why I'm perfectly fine with tasting these things, because I figure I have a really good chance of not feeling very ill from it. Hey, I'll take that.
It was a 20? Yeah.
Yes.
So you feel like part of your face start to almost droop, and you go up to touch it, and it feels cold, like the blood had been just pulled out from it. But that only lasts for a moment as you come back. What you have is a Ravage and Ruin toxin. It is a contact poison, and when you are subjected to it, you make a Constitution saving throw. I'll give you the specific details on the DCs and so on. On a failed save, you take quite a lot of poison damage, and your proficiency bonus is reduced. So it's certain creatures. I mean, all creatures have proficiency bonuses, and players obviously have proficiency bonuses. This poison reduces that, should you fail the save. And I just realized in the PDF it's spelled Ravagey instead of Ravage, because spell check is apparently not a thing. But
Ravage.
I'll throw that up in Thursday.
Ember, you're a bit staticky.
Sorry. I mean, I'm standing right next to the computer. I don't know why I would be, but actually, you know what? It's probably the fan that I'm standing in. Haha. Alrighty. So, number 1, you got that poison. What else were you looking at? And if there's enough time, attempt to craft a potion of hypnosis. Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how. Given I have the instructions, I figured I could make it reliably, but I wasn't sure if we'd have enough time to do that.
Given the amount of time you have, you have enough time to get started, but you don't have enough time to like really get into it.
Okay.
By the time
I can
it
do
takes you
prep work
to...
for it then.
Okay. Yeah, so you do the prep work for it, so you can cut down on that time tomorrow. But you aren't able to like really start mixing the ingredients. You just get everything separated and in their little containers as you do. So. Okay.
So we got this many milliliters.
Hoyd, were you doing anything today?
I was trying to identify the wand that I have by simply looking at it and poking at it and making swishing noises.
Alrighty, this was the wand you got off of Sednan, correct?
Don't point it at anyone.
Alrighty. What you have is a wand of the War Mage. You find that out by casting a few spells through it, a couple of cantrips. What that does, I believe... Nope. It was a +1. So, you have a wand of the War Mage +1. You gain a +1 bonus to spell attack rolls, and you ignore half cover when making a spell attack.
Interesting.
So let me throw that in the Thursday channel. So that's what you have. which is why his spell attacks were a little bit higher than they should have been, because he has magic items that you killed him for and managed to steal off of his corpse. That would have taken you probably only maybe an hour or two. Was there anything else you wanted to do during that time? I would say the period from late afternoon to evening would be about 4 hours, 4 to 5 hours at the most.
I think I'll spend a good deal amount of time playing my lute, trying not to annoy everybody that much.
Trying not to. Who are you, and what have you done with Hoyd? Okay. Is there anything in particular you wanted to do, or just kind of like digging around on your lute?
Just mess around. I don't have any huge goals right now. They're ferrying me to another city.
Yes, you were being ferried. So, over the course of the afternoon, Prudence and Zook, you're subjected to... It's not awful, but you can clearly tell he's experimenting a bit with his music. And Hoyd, he does mention to Prudence... Prudence, Hoyd does mention to you about what the wand is. So anyway, here's Wonderwall. Alrighty, so that's what happened over the course of the day. It's approaching evening time now, and you guys have all pulled off the side of the road. Prudence has cast his tiny hut and the alarm around the cart, and he goes unconscious.
Thank you for the alarm.
Before so, Prudence says to Hoyd, it might be helpful, but I don't intend to cast many spells that benefit from it, so...
Okay, who's to stand watch?
I can stay up.
I can take over after Hoyd is finished.
You're sure you were running all day? You're gonna be fine?
Fine. Just a little tired.
That's why...
I'll...
if you insist!
Okay.
Well, that
I don't
sounds
know.
good, and then I go to sleep.
Okay, so Zook, you... Alright! Also pass out on the ground in your bedroll. Alright, so Hoyd, you have first watch. Go ahead and make a perception check, just to
Sure.
get an idea of what's around you.
+3, so that's a 7.
It's a 7. Okay. Throughout the night, things seem to go alright. You don't see anything around you. There is one cart that kind of goes by. You see that the driver of the cart kind of like leans out and looks at the hut, the spell, but he just kind of shakes his head and keeps going. And you wave at him, and he like raises a hand part way, but at that point he's already gone by, so it's not really a wave back. Okay, so your watch concludes uneventfully, and you go to wake Shigun. Was it Shigun?
Yes.
Okay. So you go to wake Shigun, and do you say anything before going to bed yourself?
Have an excellent night. It was uneventful. There was a rude driver on the road, but they're everywhere.
Rest well, Hoyd. I'll keep watching it.
I will. Thank you.
Alrighty. So Hoyd, you bed down in your somewhat nicer bedroll, because you only have the best.
Of course.
Naturally. You certainly spent the gold on it. Okay, so Shigun, if you could make a perception check with disadvantage, please.
Okay.
Because you are a...
Remind me again of it.
Oh, however,
What's up?
before you do this, you may need some help tonight. You get a D8.
Okay, so you
Okay.
receive inspiration.
You do, since you are inferior to the rest of us.
And how do I roll disadvantage again? Is it DIS? I can't.
Question mark DAV.
DAV, I can't remember. So, do I roll disadvantage first and then roll the D8 separately?
So you get to choose if you want to use the inspiration. I believe it only lasts for 10 minutes, but that's fine.
Yeah.
You can choose to use it after you've made the roll, but before I tell you what the result is. So
Okay,
go ahead and make your roll with disadvantage, and then if you want, you can add the D8 on top of that.
Okay, and you said perception?
Correct.
I will. Jeez. See, I could use it, but I don't even know if it would be enough. But I guess if I'm gonna lose it in 10 minutes, I might as well use it.
Yeah, Bardic Inspiration doesn't last incredibly long. Okay, so a 10. You got a 10. Not awful. Not as good as it could have been, but not awful. It's hard for you to see, just being human. But you are able to see. There's enough moonlight sort of illuminating your surroundings. You have dim light looking around you. Nothing seems to catch your eye in the evening. In the night. As dawn starts to approach, you see a tiny little flash up in the direction that you're going in, just like a quick flash of light, but otherwise nothing else catches your attention.
Okay.
And then the sun has now just started to peek over the horizon. It is a little bit later than usual because you have the mountains to the east. But the sun's starting to come up over the mountains, and that is the end of your watch period.
Okay.
Nah, I'll be nice this time.
Oh.
I'll say you got your full long rest. I'll be nice this time. And I'll
Okay.
say you got your full long rest in.
I think
That means don't jog all day next time.
that's what I'm intending to do. I think this day I'll spend some more time in the cart.
Alrighty. So
Cart.
as Liamon's tiny hut starts to disappear, that's the signal that the 8 hours period is up. And
How convenient. It's an alarm clock.
it lasts 8 hours. So the sun's starting to come up. You start to see individuals walking down the road. There are a couple of carts here and there. One very large cart goes back in the direction that you came toward Bren, as you guys are starting to pack your stuff up. Oh wow, you got your portents for today. Prudence are 1 and 4. Those are good portents. Hold on to those.
Please don't use them on us.
The only one who has to worry about that would be Hoyd.
Yes, I do.
Alrighty, so are you guys continuing on at a fast pace?
Sure, we can continue the same way we were.
Okay.
Nothing bad happened.
Is there going to be any change in the arrangement of people? And Prudence says it's somebody else's turn to man the carriage, as he sort of sits in the back of the carriage on his own.
So that would be Hoyd then.
I would like
Okay.
to work if I can.
Best plan we have. I will drive the carriage today.
Alrighty, so you've been voluntold to drive the carriage. Shigun, are you going to be in the back as well?
Yeah,
Or
I'm gonna spend more time. I'm gonna spend more time in the carriage.
Okay.
And
It's not a covered carriage, so if anyone in the back wants to keep watch, you can. It's just that's what you're going to be doing for the most of the day. At least until noon.
I'm fine with doing that.
Okay.
Wait, so is
you're
Shigun in the carriage now?
Yes.
Shigun, can I show you some of the tricks I've come up with?
You can see the crab.
Sure. What you got for me?
Okay.
So Hoyd, as he's driving along, starts singing. Let me change the music because this is not the appropriate music for body tavern music. Divinity Original Sin. Where are you?
Would this...
Tavern. There you are.
Ember, I have a question.
What's up?
Would this be a performance or a sleight of hand roll?
For
I feel like
you,
it'd be a sleight of hand roll.
well, for you, because you've been practicing this, I would say this would be more of a performance than a sleight of hand.
Damn it.
Okay.
There's a spell component I forgot to pick. Oh wow. Next time.
Alright, I'm going to do my magic tricks for Shigun.
Yeah, screw
Because
you,
Shigun's
Hoyd.
here. For Shigun. Because Shigun's here, and...
I'm willing
I
to
wanted
introduce his shenanigans.
Alrighty.
I think Witch is a fantastic singer.
If Rurik wants to watch, then that's also cool.
Oh no, I'm focused on my own thing.
Okay.
I got potions to make.
Well, then I'll just perform for Shigun.
24. Shigun, you are you are bedazzled by the performance that you've been given. It's you've seen Zook perform before. This is probably, even in a moving cart, it's rather impressive at how well he's been doing.
I must say, you've definitely stepped up your game in the last couple days, haven't you?
I've been practicing.
I can tell.
Alrighty. Prudence, are you going to be doing anything, I will say, from now till noon time, till midday? Same question to Rurik, but I'm just going to wait for Prudence's response first.
What was your question, sorry?
What do you want to do between now and about noontime-ish? Because as you start to get down toward... You're going down the steady decline, you get toward this river. And you can see it's approaching, and you're going to get there by about midday.
Okay.
Um,
My immediate goal is to finish the rest of the work on the potion of hypnosis.
Okay. So,
I will use my invisible mage hand that I get because I'm an arcane trickster. I'm going to use it to draw out from the deck of cards the card that Shigun has picked.
Okay.
Are you sure that's his card?
Exodia. So Prudence, you go and
You
you
might
cast
say it's cheating, but all magic is cheating.
Prudence, I'll say you go and you cast the alarm around just a small little square around yourself. And you designate yourself as one of the creatures that sets the alarm off. So if the alarm area, you would know. The alarm does follow you. You do not set the alarm off. However, you go and you ritual cast Liam's tiny hut. It blinks into existence. You pass out of it, and it disappears. So Liam's tiny hut does not follow you.
Aw.
Which is unfortunately not so neat. Rurik. So Prudence, in that case, you said you were going to be keeping watch. Go ahead and roll a perception check, please. This is also with the -5 because you're traveling at a fast pace.
I was just trying to hear what this music was.
That's a -3.
Oh
So,
dear. How do negative rolls impact things? Like
It's
what is
0
it
is
treated
the
as one?
0 is the lowest.
Super
like one
failure.
is, 1 is the
Zero,
lowest.
okay. Super failure.
There's a road. Yeah.
There's dust and dirt.
The thing is, you're focused in on working on your spells, and you're trying to keep watch at the same time, and it's not. Unfortunately, those two things aren't meshing quite as well as you'd hoped they would. You're keeping an eye out. Like, you see, there's a big fuck-off boulder, off the side of the road that you probably don't want to steer the cart toward, but that's about what you see. Rurik, go ahead and make a... What would this be? This would be, I will say, make an intelligence check with your... You have a chemistry kit, is it? Well, you have herbalism kit, and I think you have a chemistry set, right?
Yeah, I believe it's pharmacist tools
Pharmacist
or something.
tools. Yeah, that's sufficient for this. It's the right equipment. Yeah, so just make an intelligence check and add your proficiency modifier to it.
Okay. What is that? So that'll be a +4 total.
+23. Okay. You are 90% of the way done. The only thing that you're lacking, you have all the pieces mixed together, and you have it in a nice stable condition. The only thing that's missing is it needs some heat, which unfortunately you're not really able to do in the cart because you don't want to burn the cart.
I can't manage a controlled heat source in the cart then.
I will say what would you consider to be a controlled heat source in this case? This is me asking you to get a little creative.
Fair enough. Sacred flame wouldn't generate like heat
It's radiant anyway.
It does not. It's radiant damage. So it does burn, but it burns like from holy fury, not from actual fire.
Gotcha. I figured as much. Thought I'd check.
Also, I don't know if you want to cast cast Sacred Flame on a potential potion because you might just obliterate it across the landscape.
That is also true. It doesn't seem I have anything fiery to this with.
You do know that the actual completion of this potion, now that you've gotten it to where it is, will only take maybe a couple hours at the most of brewing.
Okay, so I could just make a point to
We can do that tonight.
Just spend some time by a campfire when we make camp again.
Okay, so you have that almost completed.
What's this about it? What's this about a D8 Void?
I wanted to make sure you succeed.
He was going to give you inspiration for it. At this point, unfortunately, it's too late to apply it. But that being said, you more than succeeded on the check to create it. It's just you don't have like a Bunsen burner, you know, so you don't exactly have a way to do a controlled heat in the cart itself. But you do know.
Is there a way to obtain one, or is that something that I just won't be able to do?
You'd have to look for it to find out. You do know.
Well, I'm done with my performance, and I have prestidigitation.
Does that generate actual heat?
It can generate a fire.
Can light a candle.
So you can light or snuff a candle, torch, or a small campfire. I would say you'd have to be careful with the materials in the cart if you wanted to essentially light a fire on the cart, because that's what you'd be doing.
Get like a stick, maybe.
I would prefer to avoid lighting a direct fire on the cart. I will take
with your check, and based on the instructions that you have, Rurik, you would know that if you lit a stick on fire or something, the stick probably wouldn't last long enough to complete the boil.
Yeah, I figured. I will simply wait. And also, Hoyt, I didn't actually realize you were... That was a cue for the inspiration. I apologize.
I need to be more overt, it seems.
Yeah. I appreciate the attempt, but if I don't get the message, please be direct.
Alrighty. So that does take your day up until noontime. As the day starts to get to noontime, you are approaching... And I'm really mad because I backed to Kickstarter that was supposed to have like ambient sounds and stuff, so I was gonna have a rushing river for this, but it's not done yet. So anyway, you are approaching. You get to this relatively, as far as rivers go, it's pretty narrow, but it's still like a good 60 feet across. So it's a river, but it's a smallish river. And there is a bridge that runs across the entire length. It looks sturdy enough. It is wide enough for 2 carts to pass, but close.
We're playing Oregon Trail now?
Pretty much, yeah. You're playing Oregon
No-
Trail.
No one diss anyone named Terry, and we'll be fine.
Rurik?
Oh no.
No, it's fine.
I don't think the bridge would be made of stone, so we can't get the rock lore.
Yeah, you can't have rocks fall and everybody dies because there's not enough rocks around. You're too far away from the mountains.
It's a stone. Oh, it's a stone bridge.
You look. No, it's a wooden bridge. You look up into the sky and you see a flash of light. What is that? And you just see a meteor coming at you. No. Awful pun.
Like I was referring to stone cutting.
Ah. So you make your way across this bridge, and it's easy enough. Along the route, you do notice, Prudence doesn't, but actually Hoyd, you would notice this as you're going along. The people that are going back in the other direction they take a quick glance at you and kind of give you a, how do I even describe this? As over the course of the day, you've been the only person traveling in this direction, and as people are traveling in the other direction, they look scared, and as they look at you, they give you this kind of like, what are you doing look, and continue on their way.
I try to flag one down if I can.
Okay. So you get to the other side of the bridge because you don't want to stop traffic on the bridge because that's just plain rude.
Do I know about this? Do I notice this?
I would say, yeah, with your passive and now that you're finished with your performance, you would have seen this as well.
Do any of them look like they might be like Thieves Guild transports, if that's a thing? I don't think that's a thing.
The problem with the Thieves Guild is that they're really good at blending in. So unless you knew that person specifically,
so
it wouldn't.
So never mind.
Yeah, it's you don't exactly have matching tattoos. Because that kind of
there's not like a signal.
Yeah. So Hoyd, you flag down a person, an elf. You see, not incredibly common where you're from, but you flag down a gray elf. And he goes to stop. He's still like generally shuffling and moving in the other direction, but he does stop when you flag him down.
Friend, what's going on?
Hang on 1 second. I need to get my... I have 2 things I need to roll for this guy. There we go.
Was that you casting friends?
Okay. So he...
No.
Not that I know of. You'll have to be more specific than that if you do, but...
Oh, I will. I'll let you know. I have
you haven't heard?
No, we haven't heard anything.
They're evacuating. Everyone's leaving the city.
Okay.
Surely it can't be that bad, whatever.
I don't know why, but the king came out and he addressed everybody and he told us all to leave, so we're trying to go where we can.
That's it? Only just to leave?
He didn't tell us why, but Hazendel's never done us wrong before.
How's what? What house?
You do know the name, Hazendel is the name of the king of Sundar.
Ah. Okay, I thought
Hazendel.
you said house something.
Yeah. Ulven
I
King
take it he's a
Hazendel the
good king?
First. Say again?
I take it he's a good king?
We've seen the
I'm just
longest
taking it he's a
period
king.
of uninterrupted peace. let's see, from where you're from, you do know that since Sundi seceded from the Great Kingdom, despite being more or less assaulted on all sides, it is a member of the Iron League, and it has actually enjoyed the longest period of uninterrupted peace under Olven King Hazendel I.
That's a dwarven name?
No, he is also a Grey Elf.
Oh, so it's the king. Okay.
The king, yes.
King thing.
There's his name, Hazendel I. You do know this mainly because they make it's almost a point of propaganda that they're ruled by an elf in a primarily human-dominated country, or kingdom rather. But he's considered to be fair. He's a fair king, you know, race politics aside.
I didn't know one.
And
when would I have heard of this?
You would have heard of this during your travels throughout just the small region around your little village. It's not. You may not necessarily know the specific history, but you have heard the name. His face is stamped on all the coins.
Wow, big deal.
Well, he is a king.
Wow, that's a good one.
Not much gets to the village, so...
So, sir, you certainly trust this king. You
Well,
send somebody of our kind away?
Oh, that's right. I've been following him my whole entire life. He tells me to go, and I go.
Okay. I'm interested to meet this king.
Good luck.
Why do you say that?
He kind of looks you up and down, and then looks at the group in the back of the cart. I mean, no offense, but have you met a king?
Of course I have.
Oh, you're
You've been
definitely a
before.
fool.
Roll.
I say this out loud.
You know which check I want you to roll, so go ahead and roll it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I like the music.
He when you mention that you've met a king, you say of course you have. He looks at you, he kind of like peers up a little closely at you. You see, recognition is not the right word, but you do see for the first time he is noticing your finery and the specific way you carry yourself. So he is for the first time acknowledging, maybe you are a person of station. Maybe not, who knows, but as far as he can tell, you're not lying.
Excellent.
And he goes, well, I don't know what the king would want with someone like you, but if you say so. He kind of like...
Who would I speak to get an audience?
He kind of hitches his pack over. Actually, hang on. Let me look that up real quick. In the book. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Well, you'd want to reach out to Reno the Star. He's the, well, not exactly assistant, but he's the one that deals with the common folk. There.
Thank you. I was just going to ask you that.
Yeah, it's the specific voice I rolled for him is interesting, to say the least.
Ren of the Star. Is Ren his first name or O the Star?
I have no idea. I've only spoken to him a few times.
I appreciate the thought. Now go. It must not be safe around here.
No, it isn't. And he kind of hitches his bag and starts getting on his way.
Onward, men. We have danger to assault.
Actually, as he passes by the back of the cart, I extend a hand and 1 moment, sir. Have you do you know anyone by? Do you perchance know anyone by the name of Null?
No, you see, like, thinks for a second. I can't say that. No. You mean. No, sorry.
All right. Thank you for your time and counsel.
He kind of just, like, gives you a quick nod and moves on his way. So, you continue
Okay,
on.
Hoyd, who are you really?
I told you honestly.
You did not tell me enough.
With a great flourish, I was once the counselor to a king.
Which king?
I'm not going to tell quite yet.
I need to know whose company I keep.
In time.
So, what did you find out, Hoyd?
Okay, so what did you do in service of King Mr. Intime?
Mr. In time, what did I do in service of this king? I was his advisor.
Who are you now?
I was.
Okay, and
I gave him counsel on how to run his kingdom.
Kind of eye Hoyd a little.
okay. Did you stop doing that? Or are you still doing that?
Well, clearly, I'm here with you.
That's not an answer to the question.
I am no longer in his service.
Okay, so what changed?
How do I say this? I made a scene.
A scheme.
A scene.
A scene.
And was asked not so politely to leave the kingdom.
Okay, what sort of scene is this that got you banished?
I spoke freely in front of the king about his queen.
About what? I didn't hear you.
I spoke freely in front of the king about the queen.
About the queen.
That was
Okay, so you got banished because you insulted the king.
No, not at all. I insulted the queen.
I was just about to say he insulted the queen.
Okay.
And then honor this and honor that, and I'm escaping.
Did the king intend to banish you?
Oh, yes, he did.
How do you
Yes,
unintentionally
he did.
someone?
I'm asking because it's possible that he might have sentenced you to some other fate and you escaped. I'm not
Such a
unused to keeping the
other
company
fate.
of criminals, I just like to know what they're up to.
Escaped. Who do you take me for?
Well, if you escaped, then what you escaped was not banishment.
I escaped with my life.
As this conversation is going on.
What did you escape from?
You see Deer kind of like curl up under Zook's hand, and you go to like reflexively pet it, annoyed.
Can you be sentenced to multiple executions at once?
I'm taking that as a yes.
I think that's what happened. I didn't stay around long enough to hear all of them, though.
Okay. How far away is this kingdom?
Oh, it's quite far away.
How
I
far is
would've-
quite far away?
I wouldn't have resurfaced if I was in any danger.
Is it across a sea or is it across a great stretch of land?
It's far enough away that you don't need to worry about it. Only I do. No, I will not tell you where, Zook. You haven't
Well, you
earned
know
that.
I don't trust you.
As you shouldn't. I told you not to.
Well, then you can't reassure me unless you give at least a little information.
I have given you plenty.
I think if Hoyd were truly going to backstab us, probably would have done it.
I don't know. He seems like the type to be in for the long con.
I'm not worried that he'll betray us, I'm worried that he'll complicate a situation by his presence.
That's no different from normal, though.
He's very good at disguising himself.
I make another very flourishing bow.
Our days have been very complicated as of late. We run kind of a motley crew here.
I, for one, enjoy being blessed by the gracious presence of Lord Cornelius Bartleby.
Why, thank you, Rurik. I appreciate that. As my humble servant.
I start snickering to myself a little bit.
You're what?
A master of stealth you are not, Hoyd.
No, that's your job.
Who needs stealth when you can hide in plain sight?
That is stealth.
He's got you there.
And yes, Prudence, I agree. We should probably ask the next person what is going on.
Prudence
First
interrupts.
Why
one
do you
did-
think I entered so public a trade?
Prudence says, we have a pertinent question here. I overheard your conversation. People are evacuating the place we're headed towards. Can we find out why?
There, if I may speak, there was a light I saw around daybreak as we were waiting. It was off in the distance towards where we're heading, but I didn't think very much of it. It could have just been a building, or no, I don't. Sorry, Prudence said something.
Oh, he says, an explosion?
I don't think so. We would have heard something, I think. Even a dull thud, but it might be best if we move things along.
Yes, let's.
I'm certainly
Sound,
curious to find out what
Prudence
the
is-
evacuating.
Prudence says, sound doesn't travel as far as light does.
What's this? What's this about a light?
It was just a brief flash of light early in the morning off in the distance toward where we're headed. I didn't think anything of it because I thought it might.
Just a small point of clarification. It wasn't... You can't see the city from here. It was just along the road.
Okay. I'm not sure exactly how far along it was, but it was along the road in the path that we're taking. So it could be related, it could not be. But regardless, I think it's worth expediting ourselves.
So this conversation is going on.
Well, if it was
continue
this, then it is presumable. Then it might be some kind of magical catastrophe, and we should probably turn back too.
But why? Those are the most interesting kinds.
Those are the most dangerous kinds, and you know that.
Aren't they the same?
I agree with.
If you have the
Prudence says, let's
if
ask
you want
people.
to proceed, you can proceed.
Let's ask people who are evacuating until we find someone who knows why they're leaving.
That sounds like the most reasonable plan.
It's also important to note that if they're leaving from Pitchfield, they might be leaving some other place.
Yeah. Certainly better advice than the person whose job was to give advice.
And I did give advice.
I wasn't aware you were a guidance counselor.
He was an advisor.
There you go.
So as this conversation is going, first I'll say Prudence's thing and then I'll do a description. Prudence kind of shoots you a look, Zook, that just he kind of quirks one eyebrow up and gives you a look. Says, but he doesn't say anything. As you're going along, this conversation has been happening. You've gone well past the bridge at this point. There are you see more and more people on the road have started to travel outward, and looking over the space in front of you, you see a very large number of people are traveling not just on the road, but through you're getting into slightly more of a wooded space. You can see around you people are moving in a swarm nearly just away from the city.
Well, let's park the cart and then ask as many of them as we can as they go by what happened.
Excellent idea. Zook, go park the cart and get off and talk to people.
Your mic's not working that well. It's kind of cutting
sorry.
out.
You're breaking up a little bit. Oh, it says, excellent idea, Zook. I gotta like pull my eyebrow up real high to get in the mood of voicing Hoyd. Why don't you give it a shot?
Give it a shot. Eh.
Well, I'm gonna ask around then.
So you bring the cart back to a normal pace, almost a slow pace, but not quite, not enough to make a mechanical difference. And you start.
The plan was to park it.
Okay, so you park the cart just on the road, but just off to the side, and you and Prudence together start trying to stop individuals. The first person who stops actually is a dark-skinned human male. You recognize that the ethnicity is Baklunish. One of the not incredibly common in this part of the world, but one of the original human ethnicities. And he kind of stops. You can see he's an older gentleman. He's got like a bit of a walking stick. He's walking with a bit of a limp. And you stop him. And he doesn't say anything, but he like kind of looks at you, almost wavering, like just trying to keep you in focus. You can tell he's pretty hard of seeing. He just kind of stops in front of you. He doesn't say anything. Zook, did we lose you?
No, I'm just like, okay, on to the next person then, because I don't really want to like role play these encounters.
Okay. In that case, go ahead and make an investigation check.
Okay.
Because you
Investigation.
can get away with not role playing anything with a roll. It's
Okay,
the handy
what's-
way. And Prudence
what's-
is helping you, so you can make it with advantage.
Okay.
24. Okay.
I
It's
felt those rules were very similar.
there's a lot of fragmented information. More or less, you're getting the same information that you got before, that the king has ordered an evacuation of Pitchfield, the city. Not many people know why. A few people pass by and they mention that they mention, I'm trying to be careful with how I phrase this specifically so as not to accidentally give you a red herring. They mentioned that there had been increased activity of a specific group that were that had been known to infiltrate the country. You recognize the description. Zook, you would not recognize this description. Prudence, you would. You recognize the description of the Scarlet Brotherhood, a pseudo-country kingdom fascist state to the south that had once held control over one of the neighboring kingdoms of Neri that had invaded Sundi, which you are aware of them as a historian, as a scholar. Their people had been growing suspicious that the Scarlet Brotherhood had begun to infiltrate Pitchfield. So these are the rumors that you pick up from people as they're passing by. There's no... The only official word is the king's ordered an evacuation of the city. But people are speculating as they pass by. They're like, oh, I heard that the Scarlet Brotherhood was back. Things like that. You, Zook, do not know who that is, really. You may have heard them in whispers here and then, but your village was not affected by them. But
Well, I'm
Prudence, you
gonna
do
ask
very much know
Prudence
who they are.
what he knows about it. Like if he knows anything, and then
Okay, yeah. So Prudence just goes and explains more or less what I just told you. Despite their name, outside the actual physical holdings of the Scarlet Brotherhood, they don't actually wear scarlet. They don't wear red. But they were a very, or are, I should say, they're still around in some places, a very human-centric, oppressive state. So it's very... the fact that they're back is not a good sign for anybody, but these are the rumors that you're hearing. You don't.
I wonder what this symbolism is about.
This was written back in the 70s, man. All of this lore.
Well, still. So.
It's appropriate.
Okay, so.
And Prudence says, perhaps
Do I know?
Will know something about what's happening. He kind of mentions sidelong to Rurik.
Do I know how this sort of situation, like the potential for imminent war, would affect Thieves Guild activity?
Well, one of two ways. Either a Thieves Guild picks a side, hopefully the winning side, or the Thieves Guild picks no side and serves both sides.
So the deal's still on.
Right. This type of situation wouldn't necessarily have a direct impact on the day-to-day operations. It might have an impact on what the leadership decides to do in a given city, but the day-to-day operations more or less stay the same. Kingdoms come and go, but the Thieves Guild is always there.
So I still owe my debt. Alright.
Well, depends if they're all alive or not, based on what the rumors
Well,
you've been hearing. But you don't know. You don't know if they've evacuated, if they've decided not to evacuate. You don't have any of that information.
I would not expect to find the usual comforts of civilization there.
So
Let's ask Sovelis then.
Do what?
Prudence was talking to Rurik.
Yes.
Both I and him have business in this area, which can't be easily interrupted, so...
So, Zook, what business exactly do you have in the city? I'm so keen to get here on time.
Well, I suppose I shouldn't fault you for not naming your king.
I told you a truth, tell me one.
I'm making a delivery.
What kind?
You said a truth, that was the truth.
Oh, come now. I gave you much more than that.
I'm trying
Are
to
you-
get something to Pitchfield. I don't know what it is.
Are they... Is it information? Are they illicit goods that I haven't found on your person
I
yet?
don't know what it is.
So you're just the errand boy.
I have a debt to pay.
How do you know they're not just setting you up for a fall?
It's the Thieves Guild. If they did that all the time, they would run out of business.
You always trust a thief.
It helps that I also paid him cash.
I don't think that changes the question.
Prudence, as this conversation is going on, Rurik, Prudence kind of mentions to you to the side, if you'd like, I can suggest a message for you.
There's a code of conduct that we have.
I was actually in the middle of typing out what I was going to do.
Oh yeah, go ahead with that then, that's fine.
It assures a sort of civility, so that these dealings can go on without anyone having to worry about distrusting each other or backstabbing each other, sort of like a pirate's code. If anyone breaks it, then everyone will make sure that this is rectified. That's how it works. That's how it's been working and that's how it continues to last for so long. I know I'm relatively new to the trade myself, but this is the first thing you learn. The second thing you learn is not to ask questions. Okay?
The larger question is who's pulling the strings of the Thieves Guild?
Whoever that man is, he doesn't care enough about me to have me murdered. Okay?
I consider it a mark of pride.
Well, whoever it is also smart enough to not make a big show of it. I'm doubtful there's any central leadership at all. Monarchs rise and fall, as you know.
But very well, yes.
So why, then, would a Thieves Guild be run by one? It's just a bad plan.
I think we've wasted enough time with this.
You know, you're from the world of nobility. It operates on different rules. So,
Yes, it does.
I understand your hesitation, but you need to trust me on this matter. Or at the very least, you need to understand that it's my responsibility, not yours.
And then I will leave you to it. This city is your action, not mine. I already had mine.
So, Ember, I think that is the end of our discussion.
Okay. So, as you two are having this conversation, Prudence and Rurik, you've both been discussing the various wording that you'd like to do to send to Savelis. What's the message that you relay? There's a couple here, so.
I'm going to relay or use the sending stone and relay the message. It seems that Pitchfield has been evacuated by King Hazendel. We do not know why. We may not make it. Do you know something?
Okay. You cast sending through the stone, and you wait for a response.
Hopefully he will grant us aid.
And you wait for a response. And about 5 minutes goes by. There's no response. And just as you're starting to turn back to Prudence to say, he didn't respond, you hear coming through in the back of your head, we've heard some interesting rumors, but nothing's reached my ears. Do be safe. I rather liked that friend of yours. That's the message you get.
Alright. I'm afraid Savelis doesn't have any counsel to offer on this endeavor.
You hear again, in the back of your head, his own casting of sending. My colleague in Pitchfield seems to have gone dark. I don't know if that's important, but I thought you'd like to know.
Sending allows the receiver to respond with a message in kind, right?
Correct. You can respond back to him.
Okay. I'll respond with thank you for letting us know, and I appreciate your counsel on these various endeavors.
Okay. You send that off. That's as far as you hear so far.
Okay, I'm just going to start asking around in Thieves' Cant, trying to find anyone with any information about Thieves Guild status in Pitchfield.
Okay. Go ahead and make your own investigation check. Unfortunately, you can't be assisted because you're the only one that knows these can't. So.
Yeah. I'm aware.
What a bother. Unless your business is absolutely essential, Prudence says to Zook and the rest of the party, it may be prudent to inquire about the situation who work for the Crown in a safe location. And Prudence, as you turn to say that to Zook, he's already off, talking to one of the dozens of people that are around you. And it takes you a bit. Thieves' Cant is an odd language. It's not a language exactly, but it's more saying things without saying them, if that makes sense. So you approach some people and you start to speak in Thieves' Cant to people, and they kind of just give you a look like you're crazy because you're essentially saying disjointed words at them.
I'm assuming there's like a sort of code greeting.
Right, there's a flow to it, but it's like, the fox is in the hen house. Like, if you don't have context for the message, it doesn't make any sense. So some of the people that you approach, they don't have context for what you're saying, and they just kind of, either give a platitude response back or don't say anything at all. But you do encounter...
no, I know of no such person.
More or less, yeah. You do encounter, after a couple of minutes of trying, a squat, actually another gnome, wearing a, more or less what passes for a three-piece suit in this part of the world. Looks to be pretty well off, but they're traveling by foot and have no possessions with them. And you speak the greeting to them in Thieves' Cant, and they stop, turn, and return the greeting in kind.
Oh, hey, it's my song.
Okay.
More or
I'm
less.
to carry a package into Pitchfield, but this evacuation has me very concerned.
Returning to you in Thieves' Cant, he says, well, the guild is still active. They're doing what they can to get people out, but if you have a contact, who's your contact?
Who is my contact?
I don't have it right here, but I know I gave you
That's
a
the
name.
end of the campaign.
I don't remember.
Forgot what was trying to do. I forgot that he's doing a pack.
What did you say, Rurik? I didn't.
Yeah, you
That
kind
wasn't
of
clear.
blinked out there for a second.
Oh, I was just making a comment that I didn't. I actually didn't know what it was Zook was up to. I forgot that he was running a package effectively.
I actually,
I just
Ivar.
had an
That's
entire
right.
argument about it.
It was Ivar. That's right. Your contact's name was Ivar.
Ivar, how's that spelled?
I-V-A-R.
Also, where is this person? Is that like a Pitchfield contact, or is that my general contact?
You knew that he was in Pitchfield. You were sent to find someone named Ivar in Pitchfield. You didn't get a specific location, but that was the name that you were given. And I remember that without looking at my notes. I'm proud of myself.
Okay, so I tell him that I am to meet Ivar.
Okay. You mentioned Ivar's name, and it's Thieves Guild. Thieves can't rather like a name is a name is a name is a name. So you just say Ivar, and he pauses and looks at you very closely, and he kind of looks you up and down. What business did you have with Ivar?
Well, let me see if I can remember. I think I arranged this while we were still like looking for the person who was like the person who was kidnapped or something, and I think like specifically what I was bargaining for is that I took on this delivery in exchange for information about human trafficking or about person trafficking in Pitchfield. I think that was the deal. And so I relay this.
You were, if I recall correctly, I think your deal was to get documentation and like travel documentation. Is that right?
Yes.
That was the thing we were trying to do for Larassa was her name?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like my Thieves Guild deal was like I don't think that was to do with the documentation. That might have also been.
I believe it was a forged set of travel papers that you made the deal for.
Okay.
Which is why they were going to meet you here, because it was going to take time to forge them.
Ah, okay. Yes, I was also interested in getting those.
That's what you were doing. I actually forgot what you were doing because I don't think it was something you shared with the group, or at least I don't remember Rurik here.
He did not.
Yeah, this
know.
was more of a solo quest.
That's
So
what I thought. I was curious what you were doing, but I didn't actually know what it was.
Alrighty.
So yes, I'm here to get. I'm here to pick up a forged
Ignorance.
documents. And all.
Okay, and you're saying this in Thieves' Cant, so nobody else around you knows
Yes,
what you're
of
saying,
course.
as far as you know. And when you come to the conclusion of this explanation, he starts to walk past you and sort of palms you a small scrap of paper and continues walking past you. And on the scrap of paper is an address.
Okay, I put that in my pocket next to the box.
Okay. You don't know the address. Obviously, you've never been to Pitchfield, but you recognize the format of an address. So.
Do I already know about like a drop spot in Pitchfield? I don't suppose I would. So this would probably be my drop spot or like contact point.
Yeah, you haven't been to Pitchfield, unfortunately. So this is the most information you have about this place right now.
Okay,
Besides, like, what you've been hearing from people.
that's understood. So my understanding then is that Thieves Guild operation is as normal, and I am to get this done and then leave ASAP.
As far as
This
you know,
and then whatever Rurik's here to do, that's my understanding.
the individual has already walked off. So.
Yeah, I'm just thinking out loud now. I'm just like, okay, that's my understanding of what's going on here.
All right. So as this is going on, it's been about the conversations that you've been having and everything going on. It's taken you about an hour or so. So it's only about an hour past midday.
I will return to the cart.
And you've you have a good amount of daylight left in your estimation. Looking
The
around,
information I will relay to the group is it seems things aren't that bad yet. It's best to get in and out quickly.
Prudence says, then let's. As he climbs back up onto the cart.
So what did you all learn?
I just said it seems things aren't that bad yet, but we should still get this done quickly. It's like, just do the things that we need to do here real quick, maybe not even stay a night.
I, for one, am curious to find out why the evacuation has been ordered.
I hear there's some excellent markets here in the city.
Under this condition, best of luck.
Oh, it would be a market favorable to sellers, not buyers, or to buyers, not sellers. No time for shopping.
Prudence says, there's no time for shopping. As he kind of shifts impatiently on the seat of the back seat of the cart.
I'm sure we could get things at a steal here.
You can see Prudence is standing up on her... Jesus Christ. Prudence is standing up on her hind legs with her two front paws kind of up, kind of looking around, just on the outside of the cart, staring at people as they go by.
Yeah. I don't think we should take advantage of the deserted shops.
Prudence says, there's no time for stealing either. Or either. I don't know if you would pronounce it either or either. English is a dumb
flexible
language.
I think either is correct.
Both are valid.
Tomato,
And
tomato.
we're going to end up back in Fendalo at some point anyway.
British common. Okay, so it would be either.
So, that would be the place, if anywhere, to go shopping once this is all over. Or at least once we get a break, but we do not right now have a break.
Then we should keep going.
We should try and get all our tasks done in a single day. if at all possible. And if that's not possible, then I don't want to take the gamble on staying the night in the town.
Prudence kind of like makes his way up toward the front of the cart and just gently sort of nudges the horses to get on with it.
What is some? I say we should get going.
I agree. We should get there and see what's going on.
The cart starts to like slowly roll forward as Hoyd and Prudence are both kind of like giving the horses conflicting information. And Hoyd says, onward 1 and 2 in Elvish. Which, Antawe unu kai dua. I'm just gonna make every language Esperanto, it's fine.
I was gonna say, was that actual Elvish or Esperanto off the top of your head?
Tio estas la Esperanton. So you say onward 1 and 2. They don't seem to specifically respond to the phrase, but they certainly understand the tone of your voice, and they start moving forward. Zook, you kind of, as the cart rolls by you, you hitch back up onto the cart. So as you're traveling, you now have from now until sundown. If you'd like to, you can try and push the horses. They will be exhausted, and you will be, and whoever's driving them will be exhausted. But you might be able to push them to get there faster. You're not sure about the limits of these particular horses. You haven't driven them hard before, so.
Well, if we can't get all the way there today, then maybe let's not try.
You have, so I'm trying to think who would best. I think Shigun would have the best idea of this surrounding area because he's studied it as a noble. You would estimate 1 to 2 more days of travel to get to Pitchfield.
At our current pace or an increased pace?
At the quickened pace that you were traveling the previous day.
If we go with
how many days?
About 1 to 2 if we maintain the faster pace today.
If you really push the horses, which may be detrimental to them or you, it depends on certain things. You might be able to get there by the end of the day tomorrow. But that may or may not be detrimental to you or the horses.
That's not my call.
If we push them as hard as we can, we might make it by the end of the day tomorrow, but that might strain the horses in a way we may not want.
I think we need to arrive in fighting condition.
I agree.
Yes, we don't know what we're going to be met with when we go, and we, as Prudence said, we might need a hasty retreat.
Agreed.
Yeah, if there's any hurrying that needs doing in this situation, it's maybe in the other direction.
So quick to get here and so quick to leave.
All right.
See, I don't think we should overtax the horses.
Who got the cloak? I forgot about that.
I want to say, I think Prudence got the cloak. Because he can't wear armor.
Yeah, he did.
Well, he can. He just also wants to be useful at the same time. Okay, so from now, I'll say, from now until the end of your travel time, which is 1.5 days, I'll have 2 questions. So on the first day, from now until the end of the day today, and then across the day tomorrow, who's going to be on watch? It can be 2 different people.
I want to be on watch.
Okay, so you'll keep an eye out from now until sundown today. Prudence says, Deer can be on watch. Can Deer?
Can you be on watch?
Deer can be on watch. She can.
I will take watch the next day, just because I spent the prior day jogging in armor.
Okay, so Shigun, you will have watch tomorrow.
Right, I will spend tonight doing a full.
Alrighty.
Rurik is still focused on trying to finish his potion project, so was unlikely able to watch effectively.
Okay, so I will say, because you know you need. Well, I'll come back to you. And then the last period of time, which will be from sunup until roughly midday the second day, who's going to be on watch for that?
I could take the second.
Okay, so Hoyd's going to be on watch then. So, out of the people who are not going to be on watch, are you guys going to be doing anything in particular during that time? Okay, so Prudence will help whoever is watching, and I assume if you're asleep or busy, then Deer can also help whoever's watching as well. Because it is an independent Fey being who don't need no wizard.
Whenever we stop and make camp again, I would spend some time with the fire to boil the potion to finish its preparation, and given the heightened state of awareness and caution, I would forgo preparation of other potions to focus on watching during the time I can, while I'm not dealing with the potion.
Okay. When you get in this evening, when you set up camp, you are able to relatively easily, with the help of those in your party that have prestidigitation, to actually start a campfire, and you do end up. I'm just going to consider the same roll from before. You do end up completing your potion of hypnosis at the end of the day today. I'll say day 0. So each potion, each vial, holds 1 dose. So you have 1 dose, now you have 2 doses.
Okay, I was actually going to ask about that. I figured specifically potions were 1 dose per use.
Exactly. Poisons are a little different. Poisons, you usually get 3 out of a vial-ish, depending on the poison. Potions are 1 at a time.
I'm keeping track of that in my inventory when I'm noting it.
Yep.
Like you have to take an entire cap of Pepto before it has the desired effect.
Pretty much. You can't split up those pills. They don't work. Who is anybody? Remind me who's on watch today. I want to say it was Zook from now till the evening.
Yes.
Go ahead and make a perception check with advantage because you're being assisted by Prudence.
Okay.
And plus D8.
And with a D8
Okay.
because Hoyd has inspired you.
Okay.
In the way he does.
Right.
Okay. Do I have like the minimum of 16 from the passive perception?
Yeah, because you're on watch. Yeah, 16 is your minimum.
Okay. So let me think. I don't need my inspiration for this.
Okay. Well,
Go
bearing in
last 10
mind,
minutes.
Bardic Inspiration only lasts 10 minutes. So if you don't use it, then it's gone. So.
Well, okay. I have nothing else to do. So in that case.
So add your 1 to get
Sure.
a total of
Helping.
20. Over the course of the day, you are keeping an eye out, specifically because things have now slightly unsettled. You notice the people going by don't seem to be panicking. They are worried and they are scared, but nobody's actively panicking or having a breakdown. It seems that, most of the people have put a lot of trust into this king of theirs.
Not running.
Nothing majorly catches. Actually, no. One thing does catch your attention. You see, off in the distance toward the north, toward the mountain range, you see a small contingent of what appears to be cavalry. they're not the Knights of Bran. You recognize their banner now that you've run into them a few times. But there is a small contingent of cavalry that is traveling with the group leading out of the city. And as you notice this, you look around and you see a good number of these soldiers are helping to escort people out of the city. No danger springs out at you, but as soon as you notice this, you start... It's like the first time you see an orange car on the highway, suddenly you see every other orange car on the highway, right? Like it sticks out in your mind all of a sudden.
I relay all this.
Okay. So you point this out to the group as it gets toward the evening time.
I speculate that whatever the cause of the alarm is, it hasn't started yet, but will likely start soon. You know, like how they evacuate a hurricane area before the hurricane shows up.
Hmm.
You know?
Prudence says, we might be able to get more information out of them, because they might know more.
While I'm keeping watch, if you want to talk to one, feel free.
Let me actually try and imitate the voice that Prudence is supposed to have. Let's do so. Rurik, would you mind helping me?
Certainly. I am free now.
Okay.
Hoist
So
myself out of the
you kind of wait for one of these soldiers to wander by, and you flag down the attention of one of them, and he does approach. He sees that you're traveling toward the city, and he approaches as you flag him down, and let's find out what he sounds like.
Are you actual?
He comes up to you. There's Hail.
Hail and well met. What seems
Aye.
to be going on?
Well, the king's ordered an evacuation. Everybody's leaving the city on the king's orders.
Okay, Spike.
Has the king said why?
Who said
Remind-
that?
Remind me to ask you about this voice table after the session.
So who said that most recent question to him?
That was Shigun.
That was Shigun?
I hopped out of the cart with Rurik and Prudence.
This is where your background comes in a lot of handy.
Yes.
As when you ask that, he turns to face you, like his whole body turns to face you fully. He notes the emblem on your armor, and he says, "Oh, well, we haven't been told a lot of information, but the king believes that there's an the king thinks that something really bad's about to happen." So he's ordered that the civilians, I said that correctly, civilians be escorted from the city in case such a thing does occur.
I see. Is the king ordering knights to remain in the city for protection?
The king does not directly control the military, but yes, there are many of us. I'm actually surprised that you haven't heard a summons. The king's been calling for aid to come to the city for some months now.
I admit I have been on the road for some time, conducting some of my own personal business, but we happen to be on our way to Pitchfield, so perhaps we might be able to offer some assistance.
Perhaps that would be best. It seems he, whatever it is that the king seems to think is gonna happen, he's never been wrong before, so we should probably do our best to to provide help.
Well, should we meet up somewhere? Is there a place we can go in the city that might that we might be able to assist more?
Oh, of course. If you head to the second garrison, we've been. He kind of like very, almost boastfully, kind of shows off the emblem that's on one of his pauldrons, which you recognize as being the second garrison of Pitchfield. We've been tasked with maintaining order in the city. If you find the second garrison barracks, I'm sure that we'll be able to. We'll be able to find something for you to do.
All right. I turn to the rest of the group. I think we should go there first, even if second garrison. We should head to the second garrison first. That way we can get a feel for the situation in the city.
That seems reasonable.
I have another question
Possibly
for
get
him before we
debriefed if we're so lucky.
leaving that one alone.
Say again?
I'm leaving that one alone. I do have a question for the guard.
Okay.
Hold on 1 sec.
Oh no.
Wait, wait, Hoyd, were you responding to my comment
no.
about being debriefed?
Oh no.
Because what that means is to be informed about a situation in a formal manner.
You know, some people play
To be given a brief
D&D
about...
to have fun, and some people play D&D to get demonetized. It's fine.
To be given a formal brief, a writ of information about an incident.
So, sir, you said the king's never wrong. Can you explain that?
He's successfully he's successfully warned us about threats to the city in the past. So I don't know where he gets his information, but his his sources are good.
Surely he can make mistakes sometimes.
He's not yet. He successfully maintained order in this kingdom for 10 years. That's no easy feat for a new king.
I'm gonna try and use, like, a sleight of hand to, like poke Hoyd or give him a hand squeeze or something to communicate, like, hey, don't push it.
Okay. You, it's not even a roll, you know, this is just your thing that you're good at. He just kind of gives you a... Zook just gives you a bit of a nudge, like... for some of his height, you feel on your, like, mid-thigh, like a mid-hamstring area, like a nudge.
Yes, what is it?
You know what is it?
Thank you for your time, sir. It seems
Right.
my shorter companion wants me to leave you alone.
Well, best do what you can in these days, yeah? And he's like starts to hitch the he's got a small pack at his side. He starts to hitch that to the side and make his way away.
We'll make way for the city now.
Okay. So traveling through the rest of the day,
Rurik, Prudence, whoever asked, this is what I meant when I said I was worried that he would complicate things.
alrighty. So, getting toward the end of the day, the
Thank you,
number
Prudence.
of people has slowed to a trickle. There's significantly fewer people on the road beyond this first initial outpouring, if you will. There are still people walking, and it's definitely busier than you've seen this road previously. But it gets to the evening time. You are just now, let's see, where would you be? You are just now rounding more or less the long bend around one of the foothills of the mountains and starting to go up into the mountains where Pitchfield is. If you look, well, you can't really see very well from here, but if it were broad daylight, you'd be able to look up into the mountains and see the very tops of some of the tallest buildings in Pitchfield. It is just getting to evening time. So what is your plan now that night is beginning to fall?
We're 15 minutes from the end of the session.
I'm aware.
How we set the stage for the next session.
Just reminding everyone else.
Are we setting up on a long rest? What is this?
What is life? What is a cutie?
Oh my
We-
God.
Sorry.
Oh, you will be.
It's the end of the day. It's maybe time to go to sleep. It's certainly a better time to go to sleep than, like, noon.
So what does everybody think that light was, and what the people are running from?
I'm more interested in how this king seems to know what's coming.
I'm sure he has contacts.
I don't think that's what he has.
I mean, I've been in proximity of a particular divination wizard to know something's up.
I mean,
Prudence says, I'm not
every
interested
single
in
one of us except
speculation
maybe
without
you,
a strong
Hoyd,
base.
has contacts. So, I've no doubt the king might have contacts.
What if he has glasses?
People that he talks to. Right, and now glasses are canon in D&D. Now, how are we gonna figure that out?
Glasses have been canon in D&D. They're called oculus.
Oh,
They're called
Oh,
oculi.
okay.
A lens
I
is called
love-
an oculus.
well now contact lenses are canon in D&D, and how will we deal with that?
Magic.
Okay,
Sounds like
cool.
Black Clover.
So as you get to, as night begins to fall, are you guys going to be heading to your long rest? Or are you guys going to continue through the night? What's the plan?
Make
Long
camp,
rest.
long rest, and then prepare in the morning to go in.
Okay. So you pull off the side of the road, a little bit further off the side of the road this time. The terrain is getting a little rockier, so it's a little rougher. But it's not awful. You manage to get all the way off the road. Prudence does his usual routine. He goes and he ritual casts Lehman's tiny hut, draws the big circle around everything, voomp, up comes the dome, and he threads his wire around the outside of the cart and casts his alarm spell. Having done so, he looks at both, kind of gives a nod, and voomp, goes right to sleep. Okay.
Oh, it's that one again.
On that note, I will actually say, why don't we close our session here? Because I don't want to accidentally start something that's going to take a while to finish.
Roll initiative! No.
Unless anyone has like last minute
Yeah.
little things that they want to do
So first
before
question.
the long rest.
First question: who's going to be up on first watch? Just so I have a track of it.
I can take first watch.
Didn't we decide this?
I'm not going to make
we
you.
did. I don't.
I'm not going to make you do anything tonight, but just for reference in the future. Before going to bed, does anybody have anything you want to do really quickly? Before going to your long rest.
No, I think we're going to give the wand to Rurik.
Oh, I actually don't know if I can use it effectively because of basically my hands are full.
Prudence, can you use it at all?
Prudence says no. He can sell it.
Yeah, it might be worth it. So.
I'll hold on to it right now and consider that.
What about the other things of note that we had? Like weren't there like some bead things?
That's right. You had you found a, I want to say it was a bag with these small little like black beads in them. And you also, let me see if I can find the loot list, if you will.
I'm particularly interested in those.
And I don't seem to have your loot list immediately in front of me. I may have left it at the other apartment.
If those are just ball bearings, someone's gonna flip. I'm calling it.
It is... Oh, and you found that piece of chalk. That white chalk.
All right. Is it a piece of chalk from the chalk zone? That would be dope.
I'm taking that as a no.
I legitimately don't remember what the black spheres were, so I'll have to get back to you on that one. But over the course of the day I mean, it won't take you incredibly long.
They might be ball bearings.
It just takes you the period of a short rest to really figure out what a thing is. Is who's gonna be like taking point on that one?
I was interested in the beads, but apparently Hoyt gave me the chalk. I don't even remember this.
I don't remember what the beads are, so I'll have to find it later. I'm sorry. Alrighty, so you take a second. So actually, this evening you're busy with the potion. This is the evening that you're busy completing the potion. You're cooking.
Okay,
you're boiling the potion.
Right. Never mind then. I'm busy.
And regarding the wand, I mean, no. I mean, I also don't take it.
I'm not sure any of us can actually use it.
I mean, the wand I already have is more useful to me, and I'm not into attack spells.
I do have attack spells, but I need a divine spellcasting focus, and I also wield a shield and hammer, so I don't really have the ability to hold it.
Yeah, I do not have what those beads are, so I will get back to you on that one. I'll just say, for sake of reference, somebody took care of it, and I'll tell you what that is off session. Whoever plays around with the chalk, it's this type of magic is not super common in this part of the world. You've heard of it, but it's not. You haven't seen it yourself. This is a rune chalk. It's a chalk that's been imbued with this arcane energy, and you can release it by drawing different shapes on given surfaces. This particular one, the alabaster white rune chalk, has specific different things based on what shapes you draw, and I will post those shapes in the Thursday channel. I want to say, yeah, it was the white chalk that you found. So you do know that there are other colors of rune chalk, but this is the one you found. And on that note, I will say let's close the session there, and we will hopefully get back to our maybe not so tense, but tense ride to Pitchfield in 2 weeks. So our next Thursday session is going to be on the 23rd of July. This upcoming Monday on the 13th, I also have a session coming up. Hopefully this session will actually happen. They've been having interesting attendance. But this upcoming Monday on the 13th, we have one group, and on the 23rd. So, as always, thank you guys so much for coming and playing, and thank all one of you for coming and watching. Have a good night.